Okay guys, so that's the final build. So I'm not sure whether this camera is too heavy or not, because at the moment I feel that this is a very heavy quad. And the motors, I'm not sure whether it's high enough kV to lift this up. The props from the Furibee. But anyway, that's how you put together a tiny whoop. And you just secure the camera with rubber bands. Yeah, I'll do a test flight and see how it goes. But other than that, that's how you build a tiny whoop. So guys, as you can see from the video, that when I have the camera on, the quad wasn't flying properly because the motors are not strong enough to lift this camera. So this camera is obviously a bit too heavy for this build. So the build itself is how you do it with a tiny whoop build. But for any quadcopter build, you need to make sure that the motors are strong enough to have enough lift to lift the quad and the camera, and also the battery must have enough C ratings for the quad to draw power the quad, and also for the camera to draw the power at the same time. So those two things are very important in any quad building. That's the motors and also the props, and also the battery. Those three are very important: props, motors, and the battery. So this battery wasn't powerful enough, the motor wasn't powerful enough. I think the props were. So when you consider building any quads, the most important thing for you is to make sure that the frame is light enough. The board itself will be the same for any quad. And the next thing that is very important is you need to make sure that the motors are strong enough to lift the whole quad, and also the battery is strong enough to power everything on board of the quad. Otherwise, your quad will not work properly. So those are the things that you need to consider when building a quad. Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how easy it is to put a tiny whoop together with a hobby grade board. And all you need is the frame, props, and the motors with or this JST type of connector, a few rubber bands to tie the camera down, and all-in-one camera, a bit of foam, the board, a screwdriver, and a screw to screw down the flight control board. And that's all it is. So I'm going to show you now. So here I have the frame, and I've already put 3 motors in there. So this is the front bit. So what you need to do is just slide the wire down the port and push the motor down. And that's it. Okay, so I've got all the wires tidied up. So that's the hardest part of this build, because I need to wire the motors through the slots and through the slots here. And because the slots are a bit sharp, if you don't wire them properly, your wires may get cut sooner or later. So I use a bit of electrical tape to hold the wires in the arms together, and also a bit of double-sided foam tape to slide into the slot here. So I've done that with all the 4 motors. So now they're ready to be connected to the flight control board. Oh, and I also use rubber bands to tidy up the wires from the port to the slots, and also this will help to hold the motors in the port. So now that we got the wires through the frame, so the next thing to do is to plug in the motors to the flight control board. So you just need to figure out which one is the front, where's the front, where's the back. So according to the holes for the screw, this should be the front. So let me show you how to plug all the motors in. Once they are plugged in, make sure that you properly secure them. So I've checked them, so they're all fully secure. The next thing to do is to make sure that you push it down neatly into the frame. So this power wire goes to the front. You just push it down like that and make sure that the wires are not cut by any parts of the frame. And then after that you just screw the board back on to the frame. So I'm trying to push the wires down, but before I push them down, I put a bit of foam tape, double-sided foam tape to the side to secure the wires here, and also two double-sided foam tape at the bottom here, so that when I push the wires down, hopefully they'll get stuck on the one of the double-sided tape, and it will hold the wires together under the frame. Hopefully that works. So I've now secured everything down. So the next thing I need to do is just to put the screw back on here. So that's basically it for the whole frame and the models. And I've already soldered the camera connector to the board here. So the next thing for me to do is just to put the camera on the quad like that in the middle here. And you stick it down. And then I connect the wires. So that's the camera done. It's a bit crooked to the side, but that's okay, I can adjust that when I use the rubber band to tie it down. Yeah, that's better. Instead of the other way around. Now all I need to do is to put the props on and just make sure that the orientation are correct. So just remember that the props orientation are always turning inwards when it faces away from you. So the top, the straight part, will be pointing inwards. So that's correct. And point this side. Make sure that the straight part is pointing inwards. Yep. Well, that's the props done. I just need to make sure that they are properly secure. Then later I can test this out.